to be launching a tasty pastry. It's a low-carb Pop-Tart. It's got 3 to 4 grams of net carbs, and we love this show. This is our best place to be in LA.
Welcome back to Legendary Foods Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, and today is Thursday, June 9th, 2022. And let's find out what's going on in the world of bodybuilding and fitness. More often than not, when you hear someone described as a workaholic, there's a negative connotation attached to it. But when you see the success that someone like Missy Truscott has had over the last few years, and you understand that all of it is really just a byproduct of her being completely obsessed with perfecting her craft, then all of a sudden it makes being a workaholic seem like it, well, ain't so bad. A few days ago, Missy released this brand new physique update to give her fans a sneak peek at what she's been working with this off-season, which seems to be going according to the schedule based on everything we've seen. Even though she had a tough start to the season, losing her Fitness International title to Ariel Kadar, she turned right around the following week and looked incredible in her win at the Boston Pro. And it seems like she's completely locked into doing everything in her power to make sure she closes out the year strong by adding another Olympia title to her trophy case. And as we've seen so many times in the past, when Missy is at the top of her game, there aren't many people in the division who could outlast that storm. I would say that for the most part, when we think about the big events on the schedule during the summer, the Vancouver Pro isn't usually one that immediately comes to mind. But if you've been following some of the stuff that Quinton Eriya has been putting out lately, all of a sudden it makes Vancouver feel like one of those must-see TV events that you need to put on your calendar. According to the latest news coming from Quinton Eriya's camp, he loves where he's at this point in the process right now. And if you're seeing these update photos that we're rolling right out, well, it isn't hard to see why. The size that he's added during the off-season looks like it's already starting to pay huge dividends, because this version of Quinton is probably the most complete from front to back that we've ever seen. Now, with that being said, we do know that the lineup at this IFBB Vancouver is going to be pretty deep on paper. But if his conditioning is on point, that might be a moot point, because he's probably going to be there competing for a shot at the win no matter who shows up. Have you heard the expression, the body keeps the score? There was actually a pretty popular book with the same name that came out a few years ago that might be worth checking out if you're interested. And for the whole reason for me saying this is that this video from Terrence Ruffin that you're seeing right now on the screen, if there's anyone out there keeping score, then we can say beyond any shadow of a doubt that he's winning whatever game he's playing right now. If you compare where he's at right now to where he was at during the same time last season, it's like night and day. Because you can't help but be impressed with the amount of progress that he's been able to make in such a short period of time. For the better part of the last 2 or 3 years, he's been one of the premier athletes in the classic physique division. And for him to still be able to improve at this rate says a lot about his commitment he's made to mastering his craft. The top 5 or 6 slots in the classic division are as tight and as competitive as any division in all of bodybuilding. But if he keeps racking up the points like this, there are guys that are going to have one hell of a time playing catch-up. Sometimes in team sports, you'll hear about certain athletes who elevate their performance to match the level of the competition. And even though bodybuilding isn't necessarily a team sport, sometimes knowing that you're about to go battle against a lineup full of battle-tested veterans can give people that extra spark they need to rise up and meet the challenge. And in a few weeks, when we see Martin Fitzwater make his season debut at the IFBB Texas Pro, we'll find out quick, fast, and in a hurry whether or not he's up for the job. According to the news coming from Martin's camp, they've seen pretty significant changes in his conditioning over the last few weeks without a whole lot of movement on the scale. Well, which is really usually a good sign, because it means that he's growing into the show. With Texas being about 10 weeks away now, and the IFBB Arnold UK a few weeks after that, Martin is about to face the toughest back-to-back lineups that he's seen in his pro career. So if he can keep going at this pace and play up to the level of his competition, he should be right there in the thick of things when the judges are starting to sort out who they ultimately end up putting in that first call out. And that does it for yet another edition of Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, reminding you to always be true to your passions, and make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.